Boom, boom, how's it going? How's it going? It is your boy TJ, Tarai Jack, and welcome to yet another episode where we talk about property and everything else. But you do know when I have my co-host, that guy, we are talking about
town planning.
You are right, town planning. So if you've never been here before and this is your first time, I'm a property investor. I do property, and over and above that, I write books, and this is my book that I wrote, which is called From Bad Day to Property Mogul. Life didn't start off by me having conversations with people like Dumisani, but it started off from a perspective of I wanted to be out there and not just being in the employment, but I asked myself, how best can I earn a little bit more money? And property became a business for me, and I have now started meeting other people like Dumisani, who actually runs his own practice for town planning. And when you are in business, you need a team, right? So Dumisani is in my team in terms of the people that I need, the professionals. He's got his own team of other people that support him. And like that, it works like a clockwork, right? But for us to be where we are today, there's lots of work that happens. So if you're thinking that property is one of those places where you come in and financial freedom and, you put your money and you don't work, no. I am here to tell you that you will work. I am at work right now with Dumisani. Dumisani, good morning, good afternoon, hello, Eta, how's it, everything?
Hola, sure. I am super duper.
Awesome stuff. It is good to have you around. Dumisani, introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
All right. As you have said, I'm Dumisani. I'm a town planner. I do town planning. That's where I play. That's where I hustle. That's where I enjoy myself. And that's where I make a living, and that's where I mentor other young town planners in the profession that are coming in. And that's where I meet a lot of developers, property developers like yourselves. And that's the space where we are in, where we just make things happen.
Awesome stuff. So if you're looking for a town planner, now you know who to get to. Don't send me an email, TJ, how do I do this? What is the zoning, TJ? How do I know? No, I am not that guy. He is that guy. I never took the test. He did. You can see who's the sharper one here. But let's go on to it. Dumisani, we're here to talk about consolidation today. But if I own number one and across the road is number two and next door to me is number three, right? If I take away the fence that is in between number one and number three, which now makes my property, which was 1,000 squares of land and 1,000 squares here, I now own 2,000 squares. Is that what we mean by consolidation?
Okay, so consolidation in a layman's term is combining two properties that share a common boundary. Okay, they have to share a common boundary, meaning they have to be next to each other. So like you said, if number two is across the street, you can't consolidate. Because for you to consolidate, you'll have to go back to one of our videos. It means you must go and do a street closure. And that's when you'll be able to consolidate. You see. So the ones that share common property can be consolidated. So simpler term, consolidation, bringing two properties that share common boundary to become one bigger property. That's what it simply means.
I've got one of my boys who is out in Bloemfontein, and his name is Dana. Dana does student accommodation in Bloemfontein. And literally, Dana, he owns a property in a cul-de-sac, that road that goes around.
Yes.
And he owns maybe about 4 or 5 houses all on one street. And when I was there visiting him and he was telling me, TJ, I want to consolidate this and make this a student hub and rezone it into something else, because right now it's all residential one with special consent for students. And it made me to think, Dumisani, because back in the days, I never used to think that there is a need for consolidation. You don't see where you and me come from in the township. You don't see people buying the next door and then they say they want to consolidate that. it's far-fetched, you know. But now we're in the space of we know, right? So how then do you actually consolidate? I think the first one that we just need to move out of the way is that you need to own the two lands, right? That's the primary,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
For you to consolidate. But can you also consolidate, like you and me, we own, you know, next door. Can we consolidate?
Okay, so legally we cannot consolidate. A reason being, it must share common property, but it must also be under one institution or owned by the same owner. Right. So either myself and you now register a company, put those two properties of ours into one company, then they belong to one legal person who's a company, then we can consolidate them. Because one of the things it comes when it comes issues of your rates and taxes to say that who takes responsibility, you know, if one day there's a case that they want to charge you on and they want to attach a property. Now you have these two that are consolidated but not legally. You know, it's going to cause some of those challenges. And I think the other thing that our people must just know is that to consolidate also is to actually assist you to have one connection point. Because remember, when there are two, you have two municipal sewers, two water meters, two electricity points. So that is to reduce to have one, you see. And because if you just leave them like that, you are still being charged the connection fee of the two, but actually you are using them as one. One of the other things that most of our people do, which we've been trying to educate a lot of people now, it's there's law that governs a property, whether you are the owner or not, because sometimes a person says it's my land, I can do as and how I want to do. Then I normally say to them, no, there's law that you will follow. Because for a property to be consolidated, there's just three basic things. One, share a common property, a common boundary. Two, they must belong to the same legal entity or same owner. Number three, they must share the same zoning. So you cannot consolidate properties that do not share the same zoning. I think it's only in Gauteng, I think it's only in Tshwane where they have what we call split zoning. So split zoning meaning what? You'll have one zoning being dominant over the other. So you can have residential, maybe 51% and 49% being business one. You see, it's only Tshwane that still does that. But in the past, it was done a lot, but then there was a challenge when it comes to how then do you balance the rates and taxes, because there's two formulas now you must use. And at times people are overcharged or are undercharged. And at times when people sell, they'll normally say to someone, my entire property is zoned business, but it's only 49% of it, you see. So you just need those three basic things. They must share a common property, a common boundary. Number two, they must now share a common ownership. Number three, they must share a common zoning. Those are the basic things. Then the process to consolidate, you appoint a town planner, is going to submit a consolidation application to council, to the municipality. And the other advantage of a consolidation, it's this. It's regulated in most municipalities. So far, I've not seen a municipality that doesn't have that within their bylaw. It's regulated to last 60 days. So within 60 days, if the municipality doesn't come back, it's automatically approved. You see. Oh. So this is the only application that has a time frame that is there. It's defined to say 60 days from the date of submission, unless the municipality comes back and say we need this and that and that. And please know that it's not going to be approved within the 60 days until you provide such information as they may require. Then after it's approved by the municipality, you take the approval diagrams, you give them to a land surveyor. The land surveyor redraws the entire property now of the two to become one, lodges it with the Chief Surveyor General Office in Pretoria. Then they give you a new stand number. Most of the time, the new stand number will be the number after the last number of that township. So if a township has 200 stands, the last number was 200. When you consolidate, you are highly likely to get 201 being your new stand number. Yeah.
Okay. So having said that, Dumisani, why would you want to consolidate? What are some of the reasons that you see out there when people are consolidating?
Yes. One of the things that one would consolidate is just to try and have a bigger property. And most of the time, people will want to have a bigger property. Reason being, I want to build maybe at a certain corner or at a certain boundary. That's where I'm going to put in my buildings, either a single, a double story, depending on the number of units that one builds, especially where there's block of flats. I would want to build it on a certain quadrant, either the east, the west, the south, then leave the other area to be parking. Or alternatively, it's that if I combine the two, they give me more units from the density that I have, because if it's 50 units per hectare on both, if the stand is only 500 squares, it's going to give you those that you can build on a 500 squares than if you are building it on 1,000 square. And also the other reason might be if you put in a bigger development, the other stand that you want to consolidate with might be the better one to use for access, because the other one maybe it's on a high volume road, but the other one is on a low order road. So when you consolidate, you would use the low order road for your tenants or for your residents to come in and out. That it assists in terms of not having a dire impact on the traffic flow, you see. So there's many reasons that can cause one to consolidate, but those are some of the few that I can just give for now. But there's plenty of reasons that people will normally go for consolidation.
Municipalities, are they in favor of consolidations, or, it's another process that can, one just needs to adhere to the process and go through it in terms of town planning? Yeah.
I'll say they are in favor of it. You must remember, for the municipality, the process is simple, straightforward, because remember, you actually consolidation, when you submit to the municipality, you're saying, I'm making these 2 or 3 properties to become bigger, and I'm disconnecting the additional connection points, you see. So they do not have to worry about maintenance of the other connection points. So it makes it is a simpler application in all the applications we have in town planning. It is simpler, it becomes straightforward, and it becomes quicker. And it's also more affordable than the others. Because remember, when you subdivide, you are now adding new connection points. You are adding new access points. You are adding, you keep on increasing a whole lot of things on even the infrastructure. But when you consolidate, chances are you are even relieving some of the pressures on the infrastructure, depending on why are you consolidating the 2 or the 3 properties that you might consolidate.
Awesome stuff. What I think, from a perspective of, you've got an opportunity and you're thinking that maybe let me consolidate. A good example that comes into mind, one of our mates, he bought a property and he wanted to develop, and his neighbor was also selling. But when he wanted to develop, he realized that the parking was not enough, right? And it meant that he probably needed to develop, but utilize from ground floor going up. Yes. But now, by him buying next door, he was then able to allocate the parking there, and he actually bought the land next door slightly cheaper. So he allocated the parking there, but I saw that he then consolidated, and he's continued with the parking to go upstairs, which is something that I have seen. In your view, Dumisani, when you're doing consolidation, and now we know, we understand the process and why one would want to do it, what are some of the challenges in terms of consolidation? Because you're saying from a municipality perspective, it's a smooth process, it's cheaper, it's quicker, and it's almost sounding like it's a walk-in, walk-out, but
yes.
Most of our councils, they don't work like this.
Yes. So one of the biggest challenges, it's on one of the 3 elements that I have shared to say. If it doesn't share the same zoning, and this is a mistake that a lot of people normally make, to say, I'm the owner. Yes, you are the owner, but the zonings are not the same. I normally try to say to one, when you put in a formal shoe and when you put in a sneaker, walk with them, at the same time. You're trying to walk and wearing them at the same time. You'll not feel that much comfort. The other one might be more comfortable, the other one might be lesser comfortable. So you're trying to use 2 different things, but for the same purpose. So what is happening here is try and get your zonings correct, because that, and most of the owners then, or the developers, they start not understanding, but to say, I own it. Yes, you own it. We do not dispute that. But the zonings are not the same. It goes back to an old saying of apples with apples, bananas with bananas, you see. So we might first need to correct one of the zonings, or then don't even consolidate them. If you are going to use it for parking, leave it as like that. You must remember, there's no law that says you cannot open up a boundary, you cannot remove a fence to travel or to drive over another property. For as long as you have access, then that is fine, you see. So at times, if one wants to use it to build, the other one is a residential 1, the other one is the residential 5. Then there starts the problem to say, where do you put what where, you see, or the other one is business, the other one is industrial. You have to now come and get at least one zoning, and you can consolidate. Then the other challenge that is there, it's in some municipalities, it's just an issue of, human capital. At times, the process is smooth and easy, but you find that there's a lot of backlog. Then the 60 days end up not being achieved. Then ourselves as town planners, I'll say the 60 days has lapsed. I take the proof of submission and what I had paid to the municipality, I give to my land surveyor with a diagram and say, go and lodge. The law allows that. The approval will only sometimes come 3-4 months later after the land surveyor has done his work. You are already been on site with your construction. At times, that's when the approval letter would come, you see, because once that 60 days had lapsed and they didn't indicate any form of refusal, they cannot stop you from going ahead, because they should have said within the 60 days to say, no, we foresee that this is not going to work. But if they keep quiet, it means they are actually consenting to it by being silent. So those are some of the challenges that we face here.
Awesome stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dumisani telling us how to work around consolidation. If you ever come across an opportunity where you actually need to consolidate, he's your guy that can help you with that. But Dumisani won't just help you. There are challenges that he just mentioned here. He is that person that can walk you through the ropes and do the work in the council. You don't have to do this. A town planner can help you to do this. My name is TJ. It's been great hanging out with you, and we'll check you on the next video.